Hey everyone, welcome back to another one of my daily readings. Today's is a little bit late because I took advantage of the nice warm weather and took a walk. And now I am here in my kitchen ready to read Dork Diaries. The last place we were, Nikki, the main character, had just gotten tripped in the lunchroom and completely humiliated. She got very messy and she decided that she was going to hide in the janitor's closet. Let's see what happens next. The next thing I knew, Chloe and Zoe were poking their heads inside the janitor's closet and acting all goofy. Chloe was snorting, giving me jazz hands, and Zoe was sticking out her tongue and giving me the stink eye. They were like, "What's up, girlfriend?" For some reason, seeing them made me start crying all over again. Soon, the three of us were just chilling out in the janitor's closet, talking about all the drama with Jessica and Mackenzie. But I left out the part about Brandon on purpose because I was still kind of embarrassed about it. Plus, I was pretty sure he'd pick Mackenzie over me any day. If I were a guy, I sure would. I was so not getting my hopes up about Brandon actually liking me. Pretty soon, the lunch period was almost over. Chloe and Zoe helped scrub most of the food stains off my clothes with paper towels and hand soap right at the big sink. There were still some stains we couldn't get off, though. I couldn't believe it when Zoe ran to her locker to get me her favorite Lucky sweater to wear to cover them up. And Chloe said that if I applied an extra amount of her Candy Apple Swirl Ultra Shiny Lip Gloss along with her Midnight Blue eyeliner, everybody, especially the guys, would notice my beautiful luscious lips and dreamy eyes instead of the milk stain on the front of my pants. Which, lucky for me, was not that noticeable since it was starting to dry up. In spite of how bad things went at lunch, I definitely feel a lot better now. I guess maybe I don't hate this school quite as much anymore, but I bet Brandon thinks I'm a total klutz. Wednesday, September 18th. I think I'm suffering from no cell phonophobia. I know it sounds like some really nasty disease where you're covered from head to toe with itchy, runny sores, or something hideous like that, but it's actually the irrational fear of not having a cell phone. The worst thing about no cell phonophobia is that it sometimes causes hallucinations and makes you do insanely stupid things. I think I had an attack of this very debilitating disease on my way home from school today. I thought for sure I saw a tiny cute cell phone thingy that clips around your ear lying on the sidewalk near our mailbox. I was like, sweet, a free cell phone thingy. It's all good. But when I took a closer look, it was kind of a bright peachy color. I guess that what I had found was actually a hearing aid. Of course, I was devastated when I finally figured this out because I was really pumped about having found a free cell phone thingy just lying there on the sidewalk. I figured it probably belonged to Mrs. Wallabanger, the little old lady who lives next door. I suspected she was hard of hearing because for the past few days, whenever I said good morning to her on my way to school, she would ask me to repeat what I said like 7 times. She had a scrawny little Yorkie named Cream Puff, and she walks him twice a day. Cream Puff looks like a fuzzy ball of lint on 4 legs, but he's as vicious as a Doberman. Anyway, I spent 5 minutes trying to decide whether or not to knock on Mrs. Wallabanger's door and ask if she had lost her hearing aid. But I figured if she hadn't, it would be a waste of my time and energy. And if she had, it would be an even bigger waste of my time and energy. I was right. This is what happened. Me, talking very loud. Mrs. Wallabanger not really hearing me. Cream Puff, growling and trying to bite me. What I said and what she said. Hi, Mrs. Wallabanger. I just stopped by to ask if you lost your hearing aid. What did you say, Missy? Your hearing aid, is it lost? Speak up, don't you? Did you lose your hearing aid? Hey, you said I need to lose my hairy legs? Hearing aid, hearing aid. Don't get fresh with me, you little whippersnapper. My hairy legs are none of your beeswax. Get off my property. And this, of course, is Frank the cat. I was like, never mind. My little chat with Mrs. Wallabanger did not go well. So I figured I'd just hold on to her hearing aid for a while. Since she only comes out of her house to walk her dog, what's the worst thing that could happen? Hey lady, be careful. Don't step in that big pile of... Didn't you hear me, ma'am? I said watch out for the wet cement. Cream puff, dear, is that the sound of the mating call of a yellow-bellied swamp goose? Okay, so maybe the worst that could happen is Mrs. Wallabanger gets run over by a semi-truck. But could you really say it was my fault? Thursday, September 19th. Today, my social studies teacher, Mr. Simmons, reminded the class that our project on how recycling can help stop global warming is due on Monday. I didn't have the slightest idea what I was going to do. I figured I'd just wait until my creative juices started flowing and come up with something the night before, like I always do. Anyway, at lunchtime, I saw a group of CCP girls crowded around Mackenzie raving about her brand new Prada cell phone. And get this, she had a cell phone thingy clipped on her ear that looked almost identical to the hearing aid I had found. Even though I was starting to feel a little guilty about keeping Mrs. Wallabanger's hearing aid, I suddenly got this fantastically brilliant idea for my social studies project. My project was going to 1. Encourage recycling to cut down on pollution. 2. Help stop global warming by reducing the number of hot air bags yakking nonstop on cell phones. 3. Boost my popularity at school by making everyone think I own an expensive new cell phone thingy, just like Mackenzie's. I borrowed my dad's video camera and taped my project. How to make a faux cell phone thingy from an old hearing aid, a social studies project by Nikki Maxwell. Hi, I'm Nikki, and I'm going to show you how to make a faux cell phone thingy from an old hearing aid. The word faux is pronounced faux, as in phony. It's a French word snobby people use that means fake or knockoff. Step 1. Gather your supplies. For this project, you will need 1. Hearing aid, recycled, found, or borrowed. 2. A paper plate. 3. A can of spray paint, black or silver, depending on the model you tend to make. Step 2. Paint your hearing aid. Utilizing my very expert and highly creative skills in arts and crafts, I placed my recycled hearing aid on a paper plate. Then I carefully spray paint it shiny, metallic black. Next, I allowed the paint to dry for 30 minutes. Recycling is a vital step in stopping global warming, as my very fine teacher, Mr. Simmons, has taught our social studies class. Waves to Mr. Simmons. Step 3. Make up a script for your faux calls. Even though your phone thingy will look so real it'll fool your family and friends, you must always keep in mind that it is not real. This means you will have to make up phony things to say while you're wearing it. Like 1. Dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. This is your phone ringing. I recommend using a very high-pitched voice for authenticity, or you could sing or hum your favorite song for a top 40 ringtone. 2. OMG, I can't believe she actually said that. I'm going to hang up and call insert name of your biggest school gossip right now. 3. I'd really love to give you my cell phone number, but I get so many calls that my rents say I'm not allowed to give it out anymore or they'll take away my phone. But if you like, I can put you on my waiting list to receive it. 4. Hello? Hello? Can you hear me now? You're breaking up. Hello? 5. Another dropped call? I hate having insert the name of cruddy cell phone company as a service provider. 6. Hello, I'd like to order a large pizza with extra insert favorite pizza toppings and hold the insert least favorite pizza toppings. Thanks. 7. Shoot, this stupid thing isn't working anymore. Either my battery is low or I need to buy some more minutes. Sorry. The very convincing lie you tell when someone asks to borrow your cool phone to make a quick call, remember, it's not real. Step 4. Clip your faux cell phone thingy on your ear and start talking. Congratulations! Your new faux cell phone thingy is now ready for public use. Impress your family and amaze your friends. But most important, do your part to help stop global warming by recycling an old hearing aid into a faux cell phone thingy today. The end. Unfortunately, I had a little complication with step 4. After dinner, I decided to practice humming my ringtone so I could start receiving faux calls in school tomorrow. I'd been wearing my phone for only about 5 minutes when I felt a mild irritation and burning sensation on my right ear and the area around it. However, after 10 minutes, it turned into a full-blown rash, a really itchy, irritating one. It didn't take long for me to come to the conclusion that the rash was all my mom's fault. Why she never bothered to tell me I was highly allergic to shiny metallic black spray paint, I'll never know. I mean, she had to have known this information, right? This is the same woman who gave birth to me. Lucky for me, my dad still had some antihistamine cream left over from the time he got attacked by those wasps. So I slathered it all over my ear and the side of my face. Since I had no further use for Mrs. Wallabanger's hearing aid, I decided the moral and right thing to do was to return it to her. Anonymously. I placed her hearing aid in a little box with a bow on it and attached a note. Then I put it on her front step, rang her doorbell, and ran away. It's not like I was scared of her or anything, I just kind of wanted it to be a surprise. Later that evening, I saw Mrs. Wallabanger walking her dog, and sure enough, she was wearing her hearing aid and a huge smile. If I ever find another hearing aid on the sidewalk, I'm definitely going to just leave it there. I only hope, 1, I get a decent grade on my global warming project, and 2, this ugly rash goes away before school tomorrow. Ick. Friday, September 20th. I was up and getting ready for school when I noticed I still had the rash from my faux cell phone. I almost choked on my minty fresh, tartar control, extra brightening, mouthwash strength, cavity fighting gel toothpaste. Now that my crush, Brandon, had finally noticed I was alive, there was no way I was going to school with a rash that made my ear look like it belonged to a severely sunburned Keebler elf. You know, the ones who bake cookies inside a tree truck infested with ants, termites, centipedes, and beetles? I always wondered what those brown crunchy things were in their cookies. Ew. Anyway, I knew my mom was not going to let me stay home from school unless I was spiking a temperature of at least 289 degrees, which, by the way, is the same temperature she uses to bake her Thanksgiving turkey. My mom's life motto is, hey, why let a little case of gangrene or leprosy get in the way of achieving a good education? After trying every trick in the book, I finally figured out how to convince my mom I was too ill to go to school. I had to pretend to throw up all over myself. Now, how sick is that? I came up with this idea last spring after Brianna had the stomach flu. Mom took time off from work and let my little sister stay home from school for an entire week. On top of that, she totally pampered Brianna by buying her all of her favorite Disney movies on DVD and a new computer game to keep her occupied while she was in bed. I think all that vomiting must have really gotten to Mom. About 3 weeks later, I stayed home from school with a bad case of strep throat and was hoping to get at least a couple of CDs out of it, but all Mom bought me was a cruddy box of popsicles. And to make matters worse, they were a really gross, low-calorie kind with no sugar. They tasted like frozen pickle juice on a stick. I was like, delish. Thanks a million, Mom. But I have to admit, Brianna was a lot sicker than I was. She couldn't keep anything down, not even water. I refused to go anywhere near her unless I was suited up in full puke protection gear. Since I was pretty sure Mom was not going to let me stay home, considering my rash could not be serious enough, I decided to run downstairs and make a quick batch of phony vomit, aka faux puke, which I needed because of the rash, because my faux cell phone. It was just another one of life's surprising little ironies. Lucky for me, I was the first one out of bed, which meant I had the kitchen completely to myself for about 15 minutes. Since things were going to get a little messy, I changed into my old Heart PJs and rushed downstairs. My secret recipe was easy to make, and it looked and smelled like the real thing. Stay at home from school, faux vomit. 1 cup of cooked oatmeal. A half cup of sour cream, or buttermilk ranch dressing, anything that smells like rancid sour milk. 2 chopped cheese sticks for chunkiness. 1 uncooked egg for authentic slimy texture. 1 can of split pea soup for putrid green color. 1/4 cup of raisins to increase grossiosity. Mix ingredients and simmer over low heat for 2 minutes. Let the mixture cool to warm vomit temperature. Use liberally as needed. Makes 4 to 5 cups. Warning, this stuff is so gross that it might actually make you really sick to your stomach, and you might really throw up. In which case, you will really need to stay home from school. I poured about 2 cups into a bowl, ran back upstairs to my room, and dumped it down the front of my Heart PJs. Then I yelled down the hall in a really whiny voice, "Mom, please come quick. I don't feel so good. My stomach is really queasy, and I think I'm going to..." Of course, it worked like a charm. Mom was totally convinced and said that not only did I have an upset stomach, but also there was a mild rash on my ear. She said that since I was not running a temperature, I'd probably feel better after a day of bed rest. I told her that suddenly I was feeling a lot better already. Wink, wink. Then she cleaned up my mess, helped with my bubble bath, and tucked me back into bed with a kiss. I actually slept until the Tyra Banks show came on at noon. I just love that girl. However, when I went into the kitchen to grab a bite for lunch, I suddenly realized I had totally forgotten to pour the leftovers of my faux vomit down the garbage disposal. So when I saw that my mom had left a note for me on the counter right next to the now empty pot of puke, I just knew she was on to me and I was in really big trouble. I totally panicked and my stomach started feeling queasy, but this time, for real. Her note said, "Dear Nikki, thank you for making breakfast for us even though you were not feeling well this morning. Your oatmeal was delicious and we all had seconds. You must cook this again for us sometime soon. We are so lucky to have such a kind and considerate daughter. Thanks again. Love, Mom. P.S. Hopefully you're feeling better." I spent the entire afternoon just lounging around, watching television, and raiding the fridge. I even ordered a pizza. Me getting my grub on. Plus, I had 3 things to be very happy about. 1, the Tyra Banks show rocked. 2, my rash completely cleared up. And 3, my parents think I'm a 14-year-old Rachel Ray. Monday, September 23rd. I think Chloe and Zoe have totally lost their minds. First of all, they practically freaked out when Mrs. Peach announced that she was taking 6 of her most hardworking and committed LSAs on a 5-day field trip to the New York City Public Library to participate in National Library Week. From what I understand, it's like a big Mardi Gras celebration for people obsessed with libraries. Mrs. Peach is already making plans, even though it's in April, which is still a whole 7 months away. But when Mrs. Peach said there was going to be a meet and greet with lots of really famous authors like Kate Bryan, Scott Westerfield, DJ McHale, and some guy I never heard of, Zoe said he was the Dr. Phil's son and her fave self-help guru for teens, Chloe and Zoe actually started jumping up and down and screaming their heads off. I was like, "Girlfriends, take a chill pill, please." Mrs. Peach announcement. "Great news, girls. I'm taking 6 of my LSAs to a meet and greet with authors for National Book Week." Nikki, whatev. And then Zoe and Chloe. I mean, I was excited, but not that excited. Now, if Mrs. Peach had announced she was taking us to NYC to have a meet and greet with the Jonas Brothers, Kanye West, and Justin Timberlake, I'd have hyperventilated, fainted, and rolled around on the floor having seizures. What I wish Mrs. Peach had announced: "Great news, girls. We're having a meet and greet with the hottest boy bands in the known universe in history of humankind." Eek! Me losing my mind. Then Chloe and Zoe sleeping. Chloe and Zoe are really nice and sweet friends, but I have to admit that sometimes they're, so weird. The whole time we were shelving books, they were talking nonstop about how we need to do something really special to convince Mrs. Peach to select the 3 of us for the trip to New York City. "Well, why don't we just try to be the most hardworking and committed LSAs?" I suggested. "And we could start by maybe dusting off the books?" It was a no-brainer to me. But Chloe and Zoe both looked at me like I was crazy. All the other LSAs are going to be doing boring stuff like that to impress her. Chloe groaned. "Yeah, we need to come up with a secret plan that will blow Mrs. Peach's mind," Zoe said excitedly. Okay, so dusting the library books was not exactly a mind-blowing idea, but it definitely would have solved my little sneezing problem. We were putting out a batch of brand new magazines when Chloe swiped a "That's So Hot" and buried her nose in it. Suddenly she gasped and then shrieked, "OMG. This is exactly what we should do." "What, get makeovers and become teen supermodels?" I asked sarcastically. "No, of course not," Chloe said, rolling her eyes at me. I know, make your face zit-proof." Zoe said, reading one of the captions printed on the magazine cover. No way, Chloe said, not that. She was so excited her eyes were practically bulging out of their sockets. Then she shoved the magazine in our faces and pointed at this. This. Me and Zoe were like, tattoos? Are you nuts? A tattoo promoting reading would be perfect, and it would show that we're serious and committed. Then Mrs. Peach will choose us for the field trip for sure, Chloe squealed. That's a wicked idea, Zoe said, staring in awe at the beautiful tattooed model in the magazine. I bet we're going to look as cool as her once we get ours. Sweet! Okay, I could deal with going on a boring field trip for National Library Week, but there was just no way I was getting a tattoo to celebrate going on a boring field trip for National Library Week. I mean, what kind of tattoo would I even get? Read or die? I had to think fast. I agree, this is the coolest idea, you guys, but I just found out a few days ago I'm super allergic to spray-painted hearing aids. Chloe and Zoe looked really confused. Why would anyone spray-paint a hearing aid? That's like so bizarre, Chloe said, shaking her head like I was really pathetic. Zoe agreed. That's when I lost it and yelled at them both. You know what I think is bizarre? Bizarre is getting a tattoo for National Library Week. But I just said that inside my head so no one else heard it but me. Well, spray paint and tattoo ink are both kind of, colorful, so I'm pretty sure I'm allergic, I said, which is really unfair because I was totally looking forward to getting a tattoo one day before I die. Well, if it's a medical problem, we understand. Right, Zoe? Hey, why don't you help us pick out our tattoos? Chloe was trying to make me feel better. Yeah, we should ask our parents to take us to get them this weekend, Zoe said excitedly. I could hardly wait to see the look on Mrs. Peach's face when she sees our tattoos. But I already knew what her face... Sorry, there was a lag there, so I'm not sure where it left off, but... Yeah, we should ask our parents to take us to get them this weekend, Zoe said excitedly. I can hardly wait to see the look on Mrs. Peach's face when she sees our tattoos. But I already knew what her face was going to look like when she saw Chloe and Zoe. Oh no, Mrs. Peach? Crash. Poor Mrs. Peach. Alright, that is my 20 minutes for today. I apologize for being a little bit late. Tomorrow we will have our next 20 minutes of this book, and hopefully by the end of the week we could actually finish it. Or probably 2 more weeks, looking at it right now. Either way, it's great to be able to make these videos for all of you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.